yesterday. I've been dressing like I was in my 50s for a long time. No one told me. No, what happened?
It's just
I went to Catholic school, and it used to be we had polos, but I was hella stuff, and I would just wear the t-shirt underneath. And I guess I've been dressing like I'm 16 my whole life.
Grant, and a positive way to spin it is just that you're an older soul. You're wise, and that's the type of thing that you should be looking at. It shouldn't be a detriment that you dress like a 50-year-old. I think that it speaks to the inner person.
I just have to embrace my inner dad. Okay.
Yeah.
So the title of the show is, are the Niners setting up Trey Lance for success or failure? We're going to look at it from both angles. First, we're going to start with news. The Rams just upped the ante. They signed Bobby Wagner to a 5-year, $50 million deal. What is your instant reaction to this breaking news?
It's not shocking. I think that was one of the places that was pegged. You know, Richard Sherman set Twitter ablaze yesterday saying the news was coming soon. And he liked a bunch of tweets that were from 49ers people with the eye emojis, kind of gave people the impression that something like that was happening. But then he stomped that fire out last night by saying, no, it's not the 49ers. And then, of course, it is the Rams. And I think that the instant reaction is, we don't know exactly what are the terms of this deal. I think when people hear 5 years, $50 million, they're like, wait a minute, this is a guy on his last legs, right? No, but you haven't heard the contract details.
Right.
How much is guaranteed up front? What are the voidable years? Especially with the cap going up and all those things. It just speaks to the way that the Rams do business. And this was a move that probably anybody could have seen coming. It's not a surprise for anybody in this point. And it shouldn't be something where the 49er fans are upset about. And let me explain a little bit more. Again, look, I am not downplaying Bobby Wagner in any way. And if he wanted to come play over here, then someone has to sit the bench. And whether that's Azeez Al-Shaair, which I don't think it should be, and whether that's Dre Greenlaw, that would have been the candidate for me. At the same time, it's not a pressing need for the 49ers. It would have been a luxury pick. And he would have had to come over here for basically nothing, now knowing that the 49ers are 30th in cap space now with less than $2 million. So for me, this is just something that is representative of how the Rams do business. They're working on an Aaron Donald extension at this point, and they are just the rich get richer, and that's the way that they're going to do things. They've added Allen Robinson and Bobby Wagner. They've lost Von Miller and maybe Odell Beckham. They traded away Robert Woods, but maybe Odell Beckham comes back into the fold a little bit later because of the injury. How late that happened is the reason that you're not seeing a market develop for him at this point, because you're not going to get much out of Odell Beckham early on. So I guess the bigger question becomes, and this is the question I'll pose to you, have the Rams improved this year, even with those losses and these additions?
It's a good question. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. You could go either way, right? They've lost a lot of guys, but they're mostly depth, except for Von.
Look, I think they have. I really do think they have. And here's the thing: is when people talk about, it's the same people that'll tell you that the draft is a crapshoot and the Rams have no picks, right? But known commodities. Again, it's always that. It's known commodities and how the Rams do business. The Rams just won a Super Bowl. And they just added Allen Robinson, who is one of the most underrated receivers in the league, and Bobby Wagner, who is still very serviceable, even if his skills are somewhat diminished at this point, just because age catches up to everybody.
Yeah.
So I think the bigger point is there are different ways to construct a roster, and whatever cliche you want to use, different ways to cook a dinner, different ways to skin a cat, whatever it is. I think the end goal, doesn't matter how you get to it, is to win a Super Bowl. And the Rams have done that. And the Rams have set themselves up again. Remember, they've missed the playoffs one time in the last 5 years, and they won a bowl. Wouldn't you, as a 49er fan, love that to be your team?
And what I like about the Rams is, even though they've lost players this year, it's very clear every year that their number one goal is to win the Super Bowl this year. Even at the expense of the future. Who cares? We'll figure that out we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. We're in it for right now. And the Niners, their attitude is like, we're a good team. We can win the Super Bowl this year. But the most important thing for us this year is to get something for Jimmy Garoppolo. That trumps everything. And it's like, why? The most you're going to get is a third-round pick. It doesn't even matter. You got Fred Warner in the third round. It's just a third-round pick, though. Isn't the cap space now more important? Wouldn't the Rams just cut bait and go for now? I think that's why a lot of 49er fans are upset. Not that they didn't get Bobby Wagner, but it's just damn, the Rams are the only team in the Niners' way. And they didn't even have a great offseason. But, the Niners could make a couple of more moves if this dude weren't on the roster, but they didn't. And it's frustrating that here go the Rams making a move that, definitely moves the needle for them.
And I would just pose this question to 49ers fans. I know that we joke a lot at the Rams' expense. Oh, won 6 games in a row. Obviously, they won the real one that mattered. What would you rather be? The team that's coming off of the Super Bowl and you traded away to win that Super Bowl? Or the team that is in flux right now in terms of, yeah, you could win a Super Bowl, but the Rams did it. And don't tell me about could. 49er fans know all too well about getting close and not winning. They won. And you can't laugh at that. You can't laugh at that. So who cares what happens this year to them? A Super Bowl affords you a few years of you not doing anything. If the 49ers won a Super Bowl in 2019 and in 2020 they went 3-13 and in 2021 they went 6-11, 49er fans would say, hey, remember that Super Bowl 2019?
Yeah.
That's the thing. A Super Bowl affords you a little bit more time.
Absolutely. And it's just, if you're looking at just the NFC West, the only team in the Niners' way is the Rams, and the Niners feel like they own them. They match up well against them. They've beaten them so many times. Like, just make a few moves to put yourself past them. But it's still neck and neck. Like, it's still hard to say. The Niners got better in certain plays. I mean, the Niners lost. So I saw Matt Mayoko post a list because Richard Sherman did his thing, and then Matt Mayoko goes, okay, so he just put the list out. The 2 guys the Rams have brought in and like the 6 or 7 guys they've lost. Could you not do that with the 49ers? I mean, they got Trevarius Ward and some special teamers and lost a bunch of guys too. Lakin Tomlinson, DJ Jones, Arden Key, Jaquaski Tart, not yet, but it's K'Wan Williams. I mean, same thing.
Tart's not coming back.
Tart not coming back. It's the same thing. So it seems like the Rams, and like, honestly, the Rams brought in 2 impact players. The Niners brought in 1. So I don't know. It's a little bit frustrating from a Niners. I can see a lot of upset Niner fans on Twitter. And I don't root for the team, but I can feel you. I understand why you're feeling a little frustrated.
Right. Like, and the parallels between the 49ers and the Rams are this. The Rams trade picks for known commodities and then do a good job in the later rounds of picking up guys who are solid. The 49ers core is largely theirs.
Yes.
As opposed to Trent Williams that was outside. Everybody else they drafted. Yeah. So there's 2 different philosophies with the way that they build the roster. Unfortunately, you would, as a 49er fan, have to say that the Rams have been more successful with their plan than the 49ers have been. They've only missed the playoffs 1 time since Sean McVay's been there, and they won a Super Bowl. So
this is the trend now, too. You play for now, you build through free agency, and you supplement through the draft. You don't do the 3, 4, 5-year plan in the draft anymore. It seems like the Niners are kind of using an outdated 10-year-old model back when the cap was half what it is now.
It's a good model. And I think that a lot of what they do, it's a safe model. And also the team that I feel the 49ers emulate when it comes to roster building for me is the Ravens. So what I mean by that is you draft a left guard when you have a left guard, knowing that left guard is going to leave because now you can move him into that spot. You draft Javon Kinlaw because you lose DJ Jones, you can move him into that spot. The Ravens are very much like that too, where they draft players, they're not impact players right away, but they're ready to move them in right after that. So that's not a bad way to do things. Like, please be clear when I'm telling you this. I am not telling you that the 49ers are doing anything wrong. They're doing things differently. And when you're talking about this business, what's the biggest thing people look for is results. And the Rams way has gotten better results than the 49ers. That's not my opinion. That is an objective fact. They just
real quick. It's the same way that the Bucs have done. And it's what like 10 teams are doing right now. Mostly AFC. Cleveland, the Chargers, the Raiders, every team. The Dolphins.
And to be fair, the 49ers tried to do what the Rams did. They tried to get Matthew Stafford. They tried that. They went and they wanted to do that.
They got Quan Alexander.
Right.
They got
the Rams came out of it and they swooped in at the last minute and they made the move. But the 49ers were thinking in that way. Get the guy and you pay him a little bit more. But they were thinking forward in that way as well, too. It just didn't work out that way. So for me, I would say this signing is no panic. You know why? We haven't heard how much the contract is. We don't know what the guaranteed years are. And also, this is a luxury move for the 49ers. As much as I would have loved to see Bobby Wagner next to Fred Warner, that would have been amazing. It's not a necessity at this point. Yeah, and I think a lot of the frustration that the 49ers fans have is what you alluded to, and that's there's money that you could.
Where's our corresponding move? Where's our move? Yeah, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. Gabrielle, the move is the backup quarterback on the bench. The move, I guess, is coming up. Gabriella says, "Hey guys, should Jason Verret come back?"
Yes.
You think he
Yes,
will? You think he will?
absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
I don't know if he will, but I would love to
Solve
have
the
him back.
market for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the Niners probably let him. They probably have an offer for him. He's probably going to wait all offseason to get something better. Won't get it. Come back. Niners says it's official. If Jimmy starts this season, his number one receiver, will be Bobby Wagner.
Why
Yikes.
are you guys so
Yikes.
mean?
It's my fault. I'm an instigator. I am like the Tyler Durden of mean 49er fans. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, for the younger
I don't know.
crowd, Tyler Durden was a character in a movie called Fight Club, played by Brad Pitt.
That's how people greet me. I was in Monterey a couple weeks ago. I got my car picked up from a valet at the hotel, and I said Cohn, and like it was a 16-year-old kid. He was like, Grant Cohn? I was like, yeah. He's like, I watch you all the time, bro. Bernardo from Salinas, shout out, man. Thank you.
Celebrity, man. Here we go.
Yeah, no, just for like very few people. Anyway, let's keep more news. The 49ers. Oh, you were wondering where's the 49ers corresponding move? The Rams, 5 years, $50 million, Bobby Wagner. Not to be outdone, the 49ers picked up Kyle Juszczyk's option. He's going to be here through 2025, along with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. These guys are Niners lifers. What do you think?
I love it. Kyle Juszczyk is the best fullback in football. I don't even think that's much of a discussion at this point. My frustration would come from how much you pay him to just create angles in the run game. And you could throw that man the ball sometimes, and not just on wheel routes and over his head 30 yards.
Yeah.
Name a better duo than Kyle
catches last year.
Right. Name a better duo than Kyle Juszczyk being open and being completely missed. Yeah.
No, look, the Niners have never had a quarterback who could hit him.
Never. No.
Ever.
No.
Yeah.
I think Jimmy hit him once in the Seattle game in week 17, and it was that stalk rail where he went up the sideline, hit him. Perfect. Beautiful throw. But
yeah, but ever since Jimmy
could have used that in Tennessee, bro.
Tennessee, he's been dead to me. Ever since he
could have used that in Tennessee. So here's the thing. This past year was my first time being at training camp. And I had heard you talk about, man, they don't utilize Kyle Juszczyk. And I'm like, man, I don't know, man. Like, he used to play tight end. I don't think listen, man, one-on-ones.
You see him in the one-on-ones.
It didn't matter who was in front of him. Your favorite linebacker, your favorite safety, your favorite cornerback, Kyle Juszczyk was eating him up. I'll never understand why there aren't more packages for him to like move from the backfield into the slot and get him on a linebacker, because Kyle Juszczyk can run routes, man. Look, I am not taking away from the impact that he has in the run game, because what they implemented this year was fast motion. And Kyle Juszczyk is perfect for that. What they do is that it'll be, so basically what it'll be is you'll have the I formation, then you'll have Kyle Juszczyk turn it into two tight end set, and then before the play he starts moving, and boom, you already have a guy in motion, and his job is to seal off one block, make sure that Kittle blocks off, and get to that second level and open it up for Mostert. That was implemented this year a lot, and it's all over the tape. You guys can go check that out. Yes, everything. Anytime. That fast motion is part of the run game now at this point. Yeah. I understand his importance. Trust me, I do. But at the same time, it's almost the same complaint that you have with Ross Dwelly.
Yes.
Right? Except he's not making as much as Kyle Juszczyk, so at least that, right? You can kind of hold that back. But Kyle Juszczyk can cause mismatch problems and put a linebacker on him. He can't cover Kyle Juszczyk. Look, no disrespect to Fred Warner. No disrespect. He's a top 1, 2, 3 guy in this league. Kyle Juszczyk was baking him every single time in coverage, man. And it's just, that's how good he is. So what I would like to see is keep it going with the run game, but use him just a little bit more, please, so you can get some more bang for your buck.
Let me give you some advanced stats. Quarterback rating when targeted. Kyle Juszczyk, 2021, 107. 2020, 110. 2019, 122. 2018, 104. Come on. I feel like this is a guy who deserves, he's getting 1.5 touches a game. How about 3? How about my camera works for once? I hate this freaking camera. I spent like $150 on it just to be like, you ain't up on this, but everyone is up on this. Damn. Anyway, Kyle Juszczyk, I've always like, whenever they give him touches, I always give Kyle Shanahan a big like round of applause after the game. Like, you remembered, you found Kyle Juszczyk in your playbook. Why should it be that hard? There's more ways they can give it to him the ball. Like,
and they run choice routes with their running backs.
Yeah,
run a choice route with him. Like get him out there where he can stack his hips, watch the hip sink of his defender, and eat him up. Go left, go right. There's no way to guard that. They ran it in 2020 with Raheem Mostert. That was the first touchdown of the season.
That's right.
Why can't you do things like that? Like where, and especially when you need it, right? Like if you need it on 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, like come on, man. Like
why
get
can't
the
he?
ball.
Why is Hasty your 3rd down back when Juszczyk is a better route runner, better receiver, better blocker? I've always wondered, why is Juszczyk not your 3rd down back? He'd be perfect for that.
Here's the big brain move, the galaxy brain move. Why isn't Kyle Juszczyk your backup quarterback?
Because Debo is. Boom. Debo is.
Did you know that Kyle Juszczyk played quarterback at Harvard?
Did you know he went to Harvard?
I didn't know that until yesterday.
Oh, he's a really smart guy. He can add up all the change in your pocket very fast. Okay, let's keep going on. All right, enough with Juszczyk. Let's get to the part everyone wants to talk about. The man who's still on the freaking team, Jimmy Garoppolo. We're going to look positive and negative, but start with the negative. What is the worst part in your mind? There's a lot of downsides. What is the worst part of the Niners keeping Jimmy Garoppolo this long?
Less about the money and more about the locker room. And if you decide to bring him back, I think the money is a big thing. And I think everybody is going to be fixated on how much money you can get by letting him go. But let's just say, God forbid, and this is not a scenario that I foresee, right? Mm-hmm. It's in the range of possibilities, but I don't consider it likely. Let's just say training camp rolls around and Jimmy's still on the team. What is this locker room supposed to do when they've already galvanized behind him at this point? And then you look at the money for a backup quarterback. And then the only thing that gives me some sort of calm is when you look at how much the higher priced quarterbacks are going for, $35, $37 million, right? But then when you add up Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, and Nate Sudfeld, who they gave guaranteed backup money to, it's still far less than what the top guys make. So the quarterback room itself isn't exactly super expensive, but it's less about that and more about what do these guys do when they come to camp. Many of these guys, as I've said many times, have seen their only success with Jimmy Garoppolo or will stand, ride, and die with him. This is their opinion, and this is not something that I'm pulling out of nowhere. These guys love Jimmy. Maybe the league doesn't view him that way. Maybe teams don't view him that way. As we heard, they haven't had any offers. Much of that is being blamed on the shoulder surgery. But at the same time, you can't do this. You cannot do this. If you do that, and I go to camp and we go to camp to cover, and it goes back to Trey or Jimmy, it just causes you are becoming the teams that you make fun of. Let me explain. If this was the Jacksonville Jaguars and they had Jimmy Garoppolo, but they had the first pick and they drafted Trevor Lawrence, but they're not ready to let Trevor Lawrence play yet. They want to keep running with Jimmy Garoppolo. You would laugh at the Jaguars. You would sit there and laugh at them. Like, what are these guys doing?
Yeah, exactly. They're hilarious. Yeah.
So
look at the Jaguars being the Jaguars.
Right. It's funny to me that right now the Browns and the 49ers are in a similar state. They've got their guy that they want to move forward with, but they can't move the other guy, Baker Jimmy. There's no market. And now you have to preach patience. Now you have to say, we're just waiting. The locker room can't have this happen when it goes to training camp, even though I don't foresee this happening. That is the worst part for me about this whole Jimmy Garoppolo situation.
Okay, that was really well articulated. I'm going to go a different direction because you nailed that. I'm just going to say for me, the worst part about this is, like, I like Trey Lance a lot, but I don't expect him to be the kind of guy who makes everyone better right away. He's inexperienced. He's young. The reason I like starting a young quarterback is the idea that you can put a super team around him, so to speak. He's cheap. The rest of the team can be more expensive than Aaron Rodgers' team, Patrick Mahomes. I like that idea. You can really make him better, right? That's what Miami's doing with Tua. Don't expect him to get a bunch of players around him, pay for the supporting cast, and hope that you prop him up. That's what I think you do with young quarterbacks until they show that they're super special and they can maybe survive without a great offensive line. But if you want Trey Lance to be successful, I mean, you let Laken Tomlinson go and didn't upgrade the position. You let Tom Compton go and you're just hoping that Mike McGlinchey can be there. I mean, that's kind of scary. The fact that you would be willing to take a step back on the offensive line. I think the worst part about keeping Jimmy Garoppolo is you weren't able to put the best team possible around Trey Lance. I mean, you're trying to sell us that like having a good backup is what he needs. No. Having a good offensive line is what he needs. Are you kidding? Don't tell me that with a straight face, John Lynn. That's to me the worst part about it.
And listen, there's no argument for me about that, right? I mean, obviously, I was on the start trade from the beginning and move off of Jimmy right away. Obviously, all right, not obviously, but there's a high probability that the 49ers don't make the NFC Championship with Trey Lance, right? There's a probability of that. Okay,
There was a high
but at the
probability
same
they weren't going to make it with Jimmy. I mean, hand to
but
God.
but at the same time, what you just said, you clear that money off the books. You get yourself a premium edge rusher. You get yourself a premium corner, and now your
Yeah.
defense, which was already top 5, becomes top 2, top 1,
Yep.
and then you beef up that offensive line, and now you have things around the guy. What's funny to me is this is what's really funny to me about it. The 49ers and Kyle Shanahan have done everything that they can to take as much off of Jimmy Garoppolo's plate as possible.
Yes.
And he's a 7-year vet.
Yes.
Why are you not thinking about the same thing in Trey Lance's in advantage, right? Like, you're not trying to put too much on a kid, and you're surrounding him with a bunch of talent. And your coaching will uplift all of those things.
Yeah.
That should have been a thought process. Obviously, the way I was thinking about it was wrong. They made the NFC Championship, almost went to the Super Bowl. So egg on my face. I sound stupid, but that was always the way that I thought about it. Everybody will tell you a rookie's never won a Super Bowl, but what team would have been better equipped to at least give this man a shot than this team? And especially if you could have beefed up certain things around the way. So many people have told me after the NFC Championship that the 49ers lost because they didn't have a good cornerback or a shutdown corner. Maybe that's one of the reasons, and you were running Josh Norman out there for a while, but hey, look, you still won games. The thing is, if you have that money, you're able to beef up these certain positions, and you're starting to put this team around him, and you coach him up. I think that is the part that is a little bit more frustrating, and I agree with you about that.
And the thing that I was arguing last year is not that Trey Lance was like the greatest rookie quarterback of all time, but I just always felt he was better than Jimmy. And you could say, well, Trey's a rookie. Rookie's never won a Super Bowl. Well, Jimmy's a rookie. I don't care how old he is.
Jimmy's never won a Super Bowl.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on. Let's be positive for a second. What is the best part about keeping Jimmy Garoppolo this long? There has to be something good you can say about this.
Okay. I'm not trying to put bad juju in the air. Anything like that.
It's not hypothetical.
Hypothetical. Let's say they get to camp, and God forbid something happens to Trey Lance.
He moves around a lot. He runs a lot. He got hurt twice last year.
Right? Yeah. God forbid. God forbid. Knock on wood. Never trying to put that out there.
You're not down to the Nate Sudfeld level.
You're not down to Nate Sudfeld.
Yeah.
As much as people dislike Jimmy Garoppolo or want him out of here, you know for a fact that you'd rather roll with Jimmy and for one more year. And guess what? He walks the next year and you get a 3rd-round pick. Mm-hmm. So there's your best scenario.
That's the other thing.
That's your best scenario. That's it. And you know what's sad about that? The best scenario involves the worst outcome for Trey Lance.
Yeah.
That's the sad part. So there are no real benefits aside from that without something terrible happening. That's the thing. Is you could have botched this whole thing, right? And everybody would have said, hey, you could have moved them, this, and that. And then, maybe Trey's working out one day and we get a report. Like we had 2 guys get out done for the year working out with Jimmy in Nashville. Who's to say that something like that couldn't happen? And if it does happen, then okay. As much as you guys dislike Jimmy Garoppolo, there's not a better backup quarterback in football than Jimmy Garoppolo. And I will stand on that one. So that's the only way.
Also, I like Trey Lance a lot. You like Trey Lance a lot. We expect he's going to be good, but again, he's an unknown. And I think as much as Kyle likes him, Kyle's a little hesitant. And let's just say it's rough the first couple months or the first season of his career. They have this fallback, and they know he's not going to win a Super Bowl most likely, or even play well in the playoffs. But there's a baseline that Jed seems to be very happy with, that they can keep around no matter how expensive. See, to me, a better thing to do, a no-brainer thing to do, would be to get rid of Jimmy and sign someone like Andy Dalton or Colt McCoy, who's similar.
Gone now.
Exactly.
With the Saints, and it's
that's a great number 2 quarterback to have. Jimmy, it's too he's too expensive. He's too well liked. He's the leader. How is Trey going to lead this team with Jimmy here? How can he?
He has to go. That's the thing, is if you really are serious about Trey being the guy, you have to find a way to get him out of the roster, one way or another.
Well, let's talk about it then. It seems to me that the 49ers have put an insane amount of pressure on Trey Lance in like all different ways. I mean, can we make like the full list of ways the Niners have put pressure on this 21-year-old kid?
Yeah, I know you said we got to keep it under an hour, but I'm going to try to keep it brief.
Yeah.
Too many people, fans, not pointing any fingers. All right, no, I am. Have pointed to different situations and said, well, this person sat, Patrick Mahomes sat, and look at him. He was an MVP in the first year. Oh, Aaron Rodgers sat, and look how good he was. Stop it. That's you putting pressure on him. That is unfair. The guy has not played that long. And for you, after 2 starts, to say, oh, he sat a year just like Patrick Mahomes did, that's incorrect.
MVP.
And if this team,
touchdowns.
It's ridiculous. If this team went 9-8 next year, 9-8, and Trey Lance showed progress and showed you a glimpse in the future, that's a successful season. Stop telling me that you want him to take you to the same game that Jimmy Garoppolo took you to. Stop that. That's not fair at all. In no way. In no way is that fair. That's the insane pressure. And it's no fault of his own. Also, the pressure of being Kyle Shanahan's guy. Kyle Shanahan finally has his guy. You have to make it work now. The insane pressure that they put on him is based on unrealistic expectations from fans, pundits. I saw Marcellus Wiley on Speak for Yourself say some wild out-of-pocket shit about Trey Lance. And for all of you people that say, well, he played the game, listen to him, sometimes players are idiots. And he's one of them. So don't tell me about what he needs to do when a 7-year, 8-year veteran has done in his first year. That's not fair at all. So don't do that. What you need to be looking at is less wins and losses and more, is he progressing? Is he moving in the correct direction? Because if you hold the standard of he needs to make an NFC Championship game, at least because Jimmy Garoppolo did last year, you are going to be pushing him into an unrealistic place. There's my rant.
I got more. I mean, just the fact that they haven't moved off Jimmy Garoppolo yet adds pressure to Trey Lance. Because if he starts week 1 and they lose, can you imagine? He's already, people say, bench him. They would have won with Jimmy Garoppolo. Like he's got fans, he's got media, he's got probably players in the locker room. He's got Jimmy saying, well, I would have won that game. I would have hit Kittle. I mean, everyone nitpicking every miss, every throw. That's tough. And then, so there's just the pressure of the guy that you are replacing went to the NFC Championship game twice. So you're in charge of the entire team's success and failure. If the defense falls off, it's your fault. If the pass protection falls off, it's your fault. No one cares. And even maybe players on your own team just feel like, I don't care, man. With Jimmy, we just found ways to win. You better find ways to win too. So there's all that because we can go back to Jimmy at any time. And then there's the actual physical pressure of the pass rush that's going to be in his face now that the offensive line is down to Trent Williams and 4 question marks, which is what it was in 2020. I mean, 2020, they had Laken Tomlinson and their offensive line was not good. I mean, they gave up a lot of quarterback hits. If that's what they have this year and he gets hurt, it's going to be his fault. So, I mean, protect yourself, avoid the pressure, play better than Jimmy, get the team to the Super Bowl, and then win it. Other than that, no pressure.
No pressure, kid.
No pressure.
And here's the other thing, too. I think it goes back to the locker room thing, and I feel like this was something that was lost in week 1 because the 49ers won the game against the Lions. Who threw the first touchdown pass of the season last year? Trey Lance. Okay. When Jimmy Garoppolo was asked about, well, what happened, when they brought, well, it is what it is. He called him in, and it is what it is. Like Jimmy wasn't happy with that at all. He was not. And if you read that quote, it is what it is. I only do what the coach says, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to be out there. And it is what it is. Like that's all right. So it seemed like Kyle was trying to work out something where it was like, oh, in the red zone, we could start using this guy. And then Jimmy and everybody else in the locker room was like, you can't do that anymore.
That's not cool.
Play the guy.
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff that I'm talking about, right? And then when you have that sort of rah-rah towards Jimmy Garoppolo in the
honestly,
locker
Jimmy's
room,
more of a leader than Kyle. I'm so sorry, but Jimmy is more of a leader than Kyle.
Well,
Jimmy,
I think that what they recognize about Kyle, and I mean about Jimmy, that you've said, is he is very much that guy that you would go to war with and you want to go have a beer with after the game, and is a nice guy. Like I completely subscribe to that. Completely. And that is the human factor of playing quarterback that people do not understand. So I'm not going to discount that. I am saying that the 49ers locker room views him that way. Do other teams view him that way? I don't know. So here, now you have this locker room that was so galvanized, so behind Jimmy Garoppolo, that now they kind of knew that this was coming, but now it's going to happen. And now you have to see that through and make sure that it works.
But I mean, there's one reason that Jimmy has this. It's like they went from a team that was 2-14 and then 1-10 the next year. So they were 3-24 at a certain point, and then Jimmy comes in and wins like what? He won. What did he? We won like 16 of his first 18 starts with the Niners. Like that was magical. That was magic. He's never going to do that for another organization. He has this savior mentality, not mentality, this savior perception here. Like people call him Jimmy Jesus with a straight face. Not anymore, but that's what it is.
I think that honestly, for me, when I see the Jimmy Jesus thing, I think that's more of a meme than anything. I think that's us just like joking around. And you know what? All right, it is. But in 2017, when he first got there and they started winning games, I think that many people felt that way. But it's just again, when you look at the guys that are behind him and the way this locker room looks at him, those guys are looking at you, Kyle, and this organization like, okay, you booted the guy, this is what Marcellus Wiley said. This is how I knew he was off base. You're getting rid of the guy because you have another guy and because of what you traded for him, and he's balling and winning games. He's balling. They're winning games.
Tell me you don't watch the Niners without telling me you don't watch the Niners.
So let me just say this one more time.
I lived in LA for 4 years. They don't play Niners in LA. I lived in LA. They don't
just because a player played in the NFL doesn't mean he's smart or knows anything, guys. Please stop.
Hold on. Let me make one point real quick because this is relevant. My new writer on my site. What I've noticed is with Trey Lance in particular, he was part of this. I mean, everyone had an opinion about Trey Lance before he was on a team. He was part of a very high-profile draft class. And a lot of people wanted to show their chops and say, this one's going to be good. That one's going to be. A lot of people just want to be right. A lot of people put their flag in the ground a year or two ago on him and just want to be like, see, and they'll watch one quarter. Be like, that's exactly what I said in my pre-draft scouting report. And it's like, man, so you got to wade through a lot of that stuff because no one's right. No one knows. No one's seen enough. I'm just saying.
The folly of man is to not take new information and use it to shape your new argument. That's it.
And the whole thing with Trey is that there's no evidence with Trey. He's played this much.
Right. And if you're dug in, then just say that.
Say
that. Don't say, say that. Say, listen, I don't like this guy and I don't want him to succeed. Say that. Yeah. Don't say
I'm betting against him. I'm betting against him. Right.
And not, look, I don't really want to give too much of that article, too much, but when you write an article saying through game film and you don't provide one game clip, I don't even want to read your article, dude. I don't care. I watched the tape too. Everybody's got Game Pass, bro. You don't have some special. You don't have some special tape that nobody has. We all have the tape. We all paid $9.99 in the offseason for Game Pass. We can all go look. If you're gonna cite stats and you're gonna cite all this stuff, put the game clip in there and at least show us. That was look, man. I'm not trying to talk crazy about other people because I look.
Hey, it's a public forum, man. It's a public forum.
No, but whatever his work is fine. But I did read the article. I just had big problems with one, the way that he said, this is the way that I viewed him. And now look, and it's only 2 starts. And then you said, by watching game film, and you didn't put one clip in there, dude. So
that's fair.
Whatever.
That's fair. Hey, always good to take feedback and, use it. Let's do the other side of the coin. So the Niners have put a lot of pressure on Trey Lance. But another way to look at it is they've set him up for success more than other young quarterbacks, not particularly on the offensive line, but in other ways. How would you say that is?
I would say that is by having a top 5, top 7 roster in this league. And that's why so many people, when Trey Lance got there, were saying he's in the best situation. Because usually when you pick at 3, you're a bad team. But the 49ers were an injury-decimated team in 2020. And they moved up to 3, and they still had that same roster, and they have their core intact. Listen, Trey Lance is on a team, and there's no other team in football that can say this. Trey Lance is on a team with a top 1-2 tight end, a top 1-2 linebacker, the top 1 left tackle, the top 1 fullback,
the top 1 wide back,
and the best offensive weapon in football.
Yeah,
who else has that?
Yeah,
no one. So this is why, when people say, "How is he set up for success?" Why so many people were like, man, you better hope that Trey Lance doesn't figure this out because 1, the genius is coaching him, and 2, this roster is stacked. Look, Trevor Lawrence, everyone knew that he was going to struggle this year, even though he's been the golden child since he was born. Like, he came out the womb and they were like, he's QB1. He's been QB1. Zach Wilson struggled mightily this year, right? And a lot of the deficiencies that people had problems with, not being able to throw to wide open receivers, you don't have the good protection, the competition thing, it all popped up, right? Mac did exactly what Mac was supposed to do. He was perfect for the Patriots. They won a bunch of games. He navigated things. He's only going to get better. That was the guy who was the most pro ready. Nailed that one, right? Justin Fields, unfortunately, struggled this year. He also didn't get any favors done by his coach or his play calling or anything like that. But everyone had always said Trey Lance is in the best spot because of coaching, because of the roster. Usually when you pick at 3, you're a terrible team. Not the 49ers, though. The 49ers went to 3 because they were at 12 because of all the injuries. And that's why Trey Lance is set up to succeed, because no other quarterback including Mac Jones, no other quarterback has a better roster around them than Trey Lance. That's how he's set up for success.
Danny Kelly, he wrote on my site that one of the 3 things he does well is handoff. It's funny. Like, that's what I always said about Jimmy Garoppolo.
So wait. He hands off well? So then he's behind someone else who hands off even better than him?
No, I actually think what I'm saying is I think Trey's going to be – his handoffs are going to be better than Jimmy's, because just the threat of Trey Lance running is going to – even though they lost Lake and Tomlinson, I think this threat of Trey Lance running is going to mean that the Niners' yards per attempt is going to go up. They're going to be a better running – even with a worse offensive line, I think there'll be a better running game because of the threat of Lance. And, yeah, like, the best play on the Niners always is to hand off to Debo anyway. So, yeah, that's a good thing. I think also the fact that you can now move the pocket. With Jimmy Garoppolo, he was a sitting duck. He needed to get the ball out of his hands in 2.5 seconds because he couldn't move. With Lance, you can roll him left, you can roll him right, you can have you can constantly keep the defensive line guessing. And then, there's play action. The return of freaking play action, which to me is the Shanahan's real contribution to the NFL. Like, they're good with the running game. I kind of think how diverse it became the last few years was a Mike McDaniel production. What Kyle and Mike and his father have always been great at is that play action game that looks just like the running game. And they can create big, wide open chunk plays for stiffs at quarterback like Matt Schaub or Brian Greasy or Jake Plummer. I think, we're going to see – I love the way Trey Lance just accelerates out of the pocket. He's so quick to his launch points. I'm excited for all that stuff. I think they're just schematically, he's set up for success.
Absolutely. And then the skill set is something, the unknown is, I think, what 49er fans are ready for. What we know is what we know about Jimmy Garoppolo. And it's the same argument, which is why I don't want to discuss this man anymore, because no one's made a different point about him since 2019. It's been the same thing over and over, round and round we go. No matter how many games he plays, you end up at the same conclusion. He's a starting quarterback. He's middling. He can't do more for you at certain times. He's a baseline quarterback. The unknown of what Trey Lance offers is what 49er fans want to see at this point.
And, I think what's maddening about Jimmy, too, is, you see all these limitations. So it's clear Kyle was like, all right, man, just be a game manager. Couldn't even do that.
Don't blow it. Don't
blow it. He's like, oh, wait, just wait till the fourth quarter and I throw this pass right to Jalen Ramsey. Like, with Lance, you could be, early on in your career, be a game manager. Hand off more than you throw. We're going to give you a lot of quick, easy, short throws. We're going to use your legs. We'll give you a couple shot plays, and you'll build from there. Your job is to not lose the game and not turn the ball over. And once you show you can do that, we'll put more on your plate. I mean, I think it's going to go well. I think it's going to go a lot better than it went with Jimmy, because he could never graduate past the just be a game manager stage. Ever.
It's so funny. It's so funny how they use those same thought processes and everything for a 8-year veteran. Please make that work for a rookie and also build up his confidence in the same way. Please. It's the same thing. He's an 8-year veteran. You shouldn't have to tell him, please don't throw the game away. A rookie, maybe. Slow down. Take something off your plate. But he's an 8-year veteran, and you're telling him the same thing as a rookie. That's part of the 49ers fans' frustrations. Come on.
Gizmo says Mike Shanahan, 49ers had great ball control, short passing offenses. Kyle offenses struggled to pick up key short downs. What's up? Is that true?
I don't know. I mean, I would have to look that up. Just because there's a, the NFL communications give us that that whole thing where they show you run to the left, run to the right, base down. So I would have to do some research on that. I would say right now I don't know.
Jacob says, hey, my boys Grant and Jason looking clean. Jason, what about Yeah, he is looking clean. Dak.
I mean, I'm out of the barbershop every time that I come on this show, only because your comment section be killing me, man. For every little thing, man. You gotta be on point. Comment section be wilding on me.
Gabriel says, "Who is the captain if Jimmy stays?" See, these are awkward questions.
Fred.
Neither quarterback. Both of them.
Fred.
Official BNA Music 88 says Jimmy got the benefit of winning while being statistically one of the worst playoff quarterbacks ever, but people want Trey to be the 2007 to 2015 Brady out the gate. Oh, that's another part of the pressure. Like, yeah, you pointed that out. There's not going to be any room for improve. You got to be ready to go right away. You got to be ready to go, right? There's going to be so many people waiting to pounce on him. See, I told you he's not ready.
He sat a year like Mahomes, so he's got to just come out and throw 50 touchdowns and be an MVP. And I mean, it's like
he must be a bust because he's not as good as Patrick Mahomes.
Jimmy Garoppolo's limited, and they made the NFC Championship, baby. Trey Lance is going to take him to the Super Bowl. No, stop saying that.
Gizmo says, if you tell me we're going 9-8 with Trey and he looks like a franchise quarterback next season, I'd rather go with Jimmy and try to win a Super Bowl like we almost did. Oh boy.
Gizmo, I'm not trying to pounce on you or anything like that. Dallas game, I think Jimmy played well enough. He did enough things in the beginning that the later mistakes didn't help. But they wouldn't be in the NFC Championship game without Jordan Willis.
Yeah, let's just analyze the inner logic of this sentence. He's saying that the Niners, there's a world where Trey Lance can look like a franchise quarterback and the Niners go 9-8, where Jimmy is freaking mediocre Jimmy and they go to the Super Bowl. See, this is what people, like Jimmy fans, think. I'm not saying that Gizmo's a Jimmy fan, but it's like, it doesn't matter how freaking mediocre Jimmy is. There is something magical about him that he makes other players. Like, no, the better quarterback gives you a better chance to win. That's how it works. That's it.
It's that Gaston chin line from Beauty and the Beast, man. I mean, you just you can't get away from it, man. I understand it's hard to get rid of somebody that handsome. I get it, man. I really do get it.
Is Trey Lance bad looking?
Trey Lance isn't bad looking.
He does not look the way people want him to look.
Trey Lance is not bad looking. He is not as handsome. And to be fair,
shots fired.
Yeah, not many are as handsome as Jimmy Garoppolo. Come on, man. The guy is like he looks like he should be on a beach, doing Calvin Klein.
I think you're way more handsome than Jimmy.
Wow. I would ask. I'm gonna ask my wife that, and she's gonna say Jimmy, no doubt. And I'm just gonna be like, yeah, you're right.
Mercanapolo says Treyuk season loading up. Just wait on it. Treyuk.
I have an interesting question. Do you think Deebo Samuel wants Trey Lance to start next year?
No. I don't know if he has a strong feeling about it, but why would he want to switch when Jimmy likes throwing to Deebo? Deebo got 1,700 yards and a lot of touches last year with Jimmy. Why would he want to switch?
Now let's flip it. Do you think Brandon Ayuk wants Trey Lance to start?
Dying for Trey Lance to start.
100%.
Dying for him to start.
Completely agree. Agree.
I mean, what did he say right after Jimmy Garoppolo asked for his trade? He said, "Deep ball me, please." What was that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. All right. We got 17 minutes. Let's talk draft real quick. Now that the free agency has pretty much died down, it's clear the Niners are just signing backups at this point. I think there's a clearer picture of what they should or could do with their top three picks, 61, 93, 105. Let's go through each one real quick and tell me what you think they should do at each one, starting with 61.
61, I mean, the ideal scenario, I think that this is out of play right now for either of these guys would be either edge or strong safety, and I would want Arnold Ebukadi or I would want Jalen Petrie from Baylor. Now, Ebukadi profiles like D Ford in terms of impact in 2019. I mean, set him up across from Nick Bosa, Kinlaw, Armstead on the inside, and now that four looks just like in 2019 when you had DeForest Buckner and those guys, and you are going to be able to rush the passer and have a plug-and-play guy. Now, I don't think that he's going to be there at this point because his draft stock has just gone through the roof at this point. And edge rushers,
it's looking like he's a top 50 pick. Yeah.
This is a deep edge rushing class. So if he's not there, maybe the kid from Cincinnati, Sanders, he falls a little bit. But okay. I really believe that the 49ers are going to be taking an edge rusher because that's just part of their profile. And when you couple it with how deep the edge rushers are in this draft, it's got to be that. But here's why I want Jalen Petrie. Jaquiski Tartt's not coming back. Make sure you clip this and make sure that you remember this and bookmark it. He's not coming back. It's not happening, okay? Talanoa Hufanga cannot start
No.
right now as strong safety. He cannot start as strong safety. What Petrie shows, he just ran a 4.4 at his Baylor Pro Day. What Petrie profiles as is Jimmy Ward, meaning versatility. He can play in the box. He can play in the slot. He had 18 tackles for loss last year. He turns the ball over. He's silky smooth in coverage. This is a plug-and-play strong safety. So for all of the people that want your strong safety, and it really doesn't matter, free safety, strong safety, those guys flip and they flip, and it doesn't matter. Like it's not something that is tied to either. One can't play the other. Like in this scheme, everybody flips and they move around. But Petrie profiles like the strong safety that you want that will cause turnovers, that will, have tackles for losses and things like that. So I would love for them to find a way to at least move up and get out of 61 so they can get Ebiketie.
Right. So you'd like them to move up to get Petrie?
I would, or no, I would like them to get Ebiketie. If I was picking between those two, Ebiketie. Sure. Yeah, Ebiketie. Because I believe that you can. Okay. I believe that you can, if you find another safety. And here's the other thing. If you want to depend on Tarvarius more, that's fine, but I'm not as confident. And I don't know why 49er fans are so confident in Tarvarius Moore. You haven't seen enough from him for you to say, yeah, just let him go. I mean, he had a really good game against the New England Patriots in 2020. Very good game. Ward and Tart were out in that game. They allowed him to roam around. They had him in the box. They were using him in ways that they don't use Ward and Tart. But then when you flip that and the Buffalo game in Arizona, he's out of position. He's blowing assignments. He's getting blown by. So while I see your vision in terms of, he's been here, he's got the skill set, skills don't translate into play. So for me, the surer bet would be Jalen Petrie, or it would be Tarvarius Moore and another strong safety that you can rotate, because I'll tell you who I don't want to see starting as strong safety, and that's Talanoa Hufanga. He cannot play up there because of his coverage problems.
Yeah, absolutely not. I see, that's interesting. To me, I'm almost tempted to take a wide receiver here at 61. Like if Alec Pierce from Cincinnati is available, I mean, that guy's an athletic freak. He's 6'3", 211, runs a 4.33. I mean, the Niners don't have anyone like him, and a wide receiver isn't the Niners' biggest need. But at the same time, like Debo's running back half the time. Juwan Jennings isn't exactly like proven. I think the Niners need a deep threat, and maybe you'd be more comfortable taking him in round 3. But if Alec Pierce is available at 61, he might be the best player available. He's exactly what they're looking for. I'd be tempted to take him. Have you seen much of him?
No, I haven't, but I want to ask you a question.
Yes.
How many proven wide receivers are actually on this roster at this point?
Like two?
And then
so I mean, are you with me on this, on taking a wide receiver in the first? I mean, I don't know.
The 49ers are going to address this.
They're definitely going to.
They're going to get to a wide receiver. I've got a wide receiver in mind. I do. But when you look at the roster right now, as the way it's constructed, it is Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, Juwan Jennings, and then a bunch of names of guys that you've never heard, like Connor Washington, something like that. Yeah. A bunch of guys who can't. River Craycraft ain't even here. I don't think anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not even here anymore.
I like the edge rusher from Cincinnati that you pointed out, Sanders.
Myself Sanders.
I like Yep. I like the wide receiver from Cincinnati. Cincinnati had hella players. Those are two guys. And then if Petrie were to slip, for sure, that would be a good pick as well. So those are some options at 61.
The only reason I don't see Petrie getting there is because the Washington Commanders just let Landon Collins walk. So they'll just that's plug and play for them.
Absolutely. All right. Pick 93. This is the Niners' original pick in round 3, sort of toward the end. What do you think? Where do you think they'll go with this pick right here?
Cole Strange of Chattanooga. I love it. I love it because the thing is he has guard experience. He has center experience. The 49ers actually asked him in Mobile to take center snaps, and they're not messing around when it comes to that. He was actually on Hobby Vega's 4th and Goal podcast, and he's like an outside zone geek in terms of knowing where he needs to go and everything. It's a perfect fit. I think it works. And also, you know how the 49ers love their versatility. You know, if you played center and you played guard, then it's a feather in their cap. They love to move you around, especially in a pinch. Now, does Alex Mack come back this year? All signs are pointing to that. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen, but you bring in Strange and you have him sit, And again, like the Ravens do, they usually draft somebody, wait a year, plug them in. So the same thing that was with Banks, with Strange, you can have Strange there. And in a pinch, if, God forbid, Brunskill doesn't come back, maybe he's not working out as well, put him at right guard, play him there, play him at center. I love Cole Strange, and I think that he should be the pick for them.
Okay, I have a couple more options. I do think they need to go with offensive line, one of their first two picks. And I like waiting to 93 better than 61 because I feel like 61, you're reaching. Like the BPAs at 61 are not offensive linemen. I mean, you could get a really good edge rusher. You could get a really good wide receiver. So I like the Cole Strange pick. But if he's not available, they could also go DB. I mean, there are other safeties other than the ones you like. There's
Leon O'Neal. Leon O'Neal's one.
He's great. Yes, and there's also Kirby Joseph from Illinois. I mean, he had 5 picks. There's also JT Woods from Baylor. He had 6 picks. So if you felt comfortable, JT Woods, you could get him in with the next pick. I didn't want to say him yet, but anyway, if you want a playmaker, Kirby Joseph, and then at cornerback, Marcus Jones from Houston. He's 5'8", but he ran a 4.38, and he had 5 picks, and he has 4 kick return touchdowns this past year, 9 in his career. Those are a couple guys you could get as well. Some good options.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's true, and I think Marcus Jones actually will be available a little bit later too.
Good. All right. So the Niners picked 12 picks later, kind of the same range, but any other players you would think or any other positions they would target?
I mean, this is tough because I don't know who's left on the board at this point, what they should be targeting, but I'm just going to give you my wide receiver guy that I think that they should be targeting because I feel like he profiles and he's perfect. And he actually is a better version of a guy that 49er fans tried to sell us or, training camp tried to sell us as like the next Pro Bowler, Calvin Austin from Memphis. Now, 105 probably feels really high for him, right? And it does. And I don't know if they'll take him there. Probably it depends on how the board falls. I think that he can be had later on. My thing with Calvin Austin is 3 things. And you've heard me talk about him on here. 3 things. 1, insanely fast. 2, his vertical was insane. Did you see that? 3, he's the slot guy that Trent Taylor was with way more explosion and can take the top off of defenses, which the 49ers could use because they've been using Brandon Ayuk largely to clear out space for Deebo Samuel to run that drift route and bring him back over the middle. Now you have a guy who can really threaten the defense down the field. And Grant, did you know that when you catch punts, you can actually advance them?
No, you're not allowed. You have to do fair catch. That's the rule now.
No.
Are you serious?
I had to look this up. I had to look it up in the rule book. I consulted with people who are far smarter than me in football. And I asked them,
had no idea.
Is it possible for you to catch a punt and then move forward? And they said, actually, you can. And that blew my mind. And then that's exactly what
someone should tell the 49ers.
I mean, they're trying to show up their special teams right now at this point. You don't want Brandon Ayuk doing this because you don't want him to get injured. He didn't necessarily show too much when he was asked to do it in the first place. Now Richie James is a New York Giant. Calvin Austin fits all of these things, and I love him. And also, one more thing, I was actually watching his tape last night. Actually, a better run blocker than people are giving him credit for. And you know how Kyle likes those guys who get dirty when it comes to that stuff. You really can't play for his team if you can't run block. And I saw a lot of that on his tape as well, too. So I know that he probably won't need to be taken at 105. But since we're talking wide receivers, that's the one that I really would love for them to get. I would love for them to add that explosive ability and have that slot guy that they thought they were getting with Trent Taylor because he's better than Trent Taylor. He's got better hands. He's faster, and he can actually return punts and bring them forward.
That would be a phenomenal pick at 105. But if he's not available and this following player is, I think Kyle Shanahan is just going to be – he won't be able to pass on him. There's something about round 3, right around pick 100 in running backs that Kyle Shanahan just gets all – I mean, he loves them. I know, right?
James Cook?
James Cook.
Yeah. No,
he's a good player. He's a good player.
Listen. Yeah. And me saying no isn't because I think James Cook is phenomenal.
I'm saying
it's just, damn, at 105, really, man?
Yeah.
You spent 2 last year.
You can't resist, man. It's like, dude, you bought 2 Ferraris last year. You're really gonna buy another? Okay, so one's red and one's white. Now you need a black one. Come on, really? It's like, yeah, man, I freaking love these, dude.
No, look, and look, let me tell you, if James Cook comes in, I think that Elijah Mitchell has a guy that can really come and just take his job. James Cook is that good. And at the combine, I was able to ask him, and I said, hey, have the 49ers been in contact? He was like, yes, sir. So. Yep. You're not too far off, Grant, and you're not too far off right there.
I know Kyle better than Kyle knows Kyle. He may not even be thinking about it right now, but if he's on the board, Kyle's going to be like, oh, my God.
James Cook is so good, though. He is so good, man.
Yeah.
He's so good.
He is. Yeah. He's just a running back, and they did this last year. But
Ugh.
I'm just saying, that's why I'm throwing it out there. Like, don't be surprised if the Niners draft a running back in round 3. James,
Can I yell a little bit? If you would have just stayed in your spot and drafted Javonte Williams and not let Denver, you wouldn't even be talking about another running back at this point. Javonte Williams would be your starter. Goodness gracious.
Let's take these questions real quick and I'll let you go. Nathan says Jimmy almost blew the Cowboys game. He couldn't execute a quarterback sneak to ice the game. Dang, Jimmy stands. I know. And then Kyle said it and Jimmy came out and he was like, he said that. Well, that's what happened, bud. Ollie Ware says Rams got Bobby Wagner. News to me. Jacob says you looking clean too, Grant. I got you. Thank you, Jacob. Swan Song says in golf, never up, never in. Jimmy G is the former. I don't play golf. Do you understand? I don't play golf.
No, I don't. But you guys are crushing this man.
It's going to be worse when he's not on the team anymore. All right, that's the show. If you want to keep watching Jason, he's going over to the SF Niners.
To my channel. No, to my channel. So just come over to my channel. It's going to be me and State of Child, and we'll be in 5 minutes.
Dope.
I'm definitely going to do a wardrobe change, though, too. I'm definitely doing a wardrobe change.
Yeah,
that was just to prove
for this.
I like it, though. Yeah, like, I'm going to go put, like, a regular shirt on.
Nice. All right, thanks, everyone. I'll be back later in the future.